Day 1. Arrival and hike from EcoCamp Patagonia to Refugio Serón. Your Patagonian adventure begins with an early morning pickup in Puerto Natales. Here you will meet your guide and fellow hikers, and together you will drive towards EcoCamp Patagonia and Torres del Paine National Park, the starting point of your 9-day adventure. After a scenic 2-hour drive, you will arrive at EcoCamp Patagonia. Upon arrival, your guide will explain our dry bag and porter system and brief you on the following day's adventures. You will have time to reorganize your stuff before you enjoy a delicious lunch with the group to refill your body with energy. Today you will be walking 13 kilometers or 8 miles, and depending on the group's rhythm and the weather, the hike will take approximately 4 to 6 hours with a maximum elevation of 200 meters or 656 feet. The elevation gain is around 250 meters or 820 feet, and the hike is considered easy to moderate. The terrain is mostly flat with some rolling hills, open landscapes, grassy meadows, and a beautiful view of the Paine River. Depending on the season, some areas can be very wet and very muddy. After about 4 to 6 hours on the trail, you will arrive to Refugio Serón. You will sleep in 3 tents, the elevated gray tents you can see. There are 2 showers with hot water, toilet facilities, and a cabin where you will enjoy a warm dinner with the group and have breakfast the next morning. Okay guys, it is time to relax under the Patagonian stars. See you next morning for day 2. Day 2. Refugio Serón to Refugio Dickson. On day 2, you will hike 18.5 kilometers or 11.5 miles from Refugio Serón to Refugio Dickson, following a scenic trail through rolling hills, open grasslands, and lenga forest. This day is more challenging in terms of distance and terrain. The hike starts out flat walking along Paine River, but after approximately 1 hour, you will have the highest ascent of the day, reaching windy pass of roughly 375 meters or 1,230 feet. Before entering Windy Pass and its downhill, our experienced guide will explain what to do if the wind gusts are very powerful to avoid any accident. It is mainly downhill from Windy Pass, but the views are amazing. You will be in a very wild area where nature just seems never ending. After approximately 8.5 kilometers or 5.3 miles, you will arrive at the Coiron Park Ranger Station. Here you will usually have a longer break and time to enjoy your lunch. After a well-deserved break, it's time to hike the last 10 kilometers or 6.2 miles to Refugio Dickson. This part of the hike is even more beautiful with views of the surrounding mountains and Glacier Dickson. From the hilltop, you will see that Refugio Dickson is among the most beautiful campsites of the Paine Circuit. Then from here, it is mostly downhill until you reach the campground. This downhill is short, but somehow intense. At Refugio Dickson, you will find hot showers, a mini shop, and a cabin where you will have a warm dinner and your breakfast. Okay guys, it's time to relax. See you tomorrow for day number 3. Day 3. Refugio Dickson to Refugio Perros. Today we are going even further into the mountains, hiking towards one of the most remote campsites, Refugio Perros. The trail begins with a gradual ascent through lush lenga forest, where you'll walk under a canopy of twisted trees draped in moss. Expect some muddy stretches, especially after rainfall. The distance is approximately 12 kilometers or 7.5 miles, and the hike will take around 4 to 6 hours to complete. The elevation gain is 360 meters or 1,180 feet, and the hike is considered to be moderate. One of today's biggest highlights is the Los Perros Glacier, a dramatic hanging glacier close to the campsite. Perros is the simplest campsite on the Paine Circuit trek. There are no dorms, only tents. Showers are available, but only with cold water. Due to its remoteness, the food served here is very simple. Okay guys, today it is important to rest because tomorrow is a big day. So see you tomorrow morning for day number 4. Day 4. Refugio Perros to Refugio Grey. Welcome to day 4. Today is one of the most challenging and rewarding days of the Paine Circuit. You will cross the famous John Gardner Pass and descend towards the breathtaking views of Glacier Grey. Since this is the most challenging hike and the weather condition can be extreme in this area, even in summer, this hike usually starts around 6 a.m. in the morning before sunrise. This is why bringing a headlamp for this part of the hike is essential. The distance today is approximately 18 kilometers or 11.2 miles. The total ascent is around 650 meters or 2,133 feet, and the descent is 1,100 meters or 3,609 feet. You will hike from a starting altitude of 550 meters or 1,800 feet, reaching the highest point of the circuit, John Gardner Pass, at 1,200 meters or almost 4,000 feet. From here, you will have a stunning view of the Patagonian Icefield and Glacier Grey. Then the downhill starts, which for some people is the most challenging part because it is very steep, and if it rains or if it's muddy, it requires much concentration. If you have any knee issues, this is the part where we recommend to take your time and use the trekking pole for support. You will be crossing 3 different hanging bridges. It can seem a bit scary for people with vertigo, but crossing the bridges will reward you with some of the best views. So walk slowly and enjoy it. Then in between the 3 bridges, there will be some uphill and downhill until you reach the Refugio Grey. Prepare for a long day. Usually it takes around 10 hours to complete the hike, but if the weather conditions are bad, it can take even longer. At Refugio Grey, you will find showers and toilet facilities, a mini shop and a restaurant and a bar. This is where you will have dinner and your breakfast. Okay guys, that was the end of day 4. See you tomorrow for day number 5. Day 5. Refugio Grey to Refugio Paine Grande. This day is one of the easier days. It covers a distance of 11 kilometers or 6.8 miles and takes approximately 4 to 5 hours to complete. This first section of the trail goes primarily uphill. Some rocky walls must be climbed, which requires some concentration, especially with tired legs from the day before. In this area, close to the Glacier Grey, it is usually more rainy, which can make parts of the trails very wet and slippery. This is another reason to have good waterproof hiking shoes with ankle support. This area is also more open, and on windy days, you will be very exposed to the elements such as rain and wind. One of the highlights of this trek is the view of Glacier Grey from another perspective. On the last part of the trek, you approach the beautiful Pewe Lake where the Refugio Paine Grande is located. This refugio is one of the biggest with both dorms and tents. It has a beautiful view of the park's tallest mountain, Paine Grande, hence its name. This is it for day 5. See you tomorrow for day 6. Day 6. Refugio Paine Grande to Refugio Frances. Today we will hike from Refugio Paine Grande to Refugio Frances with a rewarding detour into the French Valley, one of the most dramatic landscapes in Torres del Paine. The total distance today is about 14 kilometers or 5.6 miles. Expect 6 to 8 hours on the trail. The day begins with a scenic and mostly flat 7.8 kilometers or 4.8 mile hike along Lago Scottsburg, east of Paine Grande. This part of the trek is relatively easy. After around 2.5 hours, you will arrive at Campamento Italiano. This is the base for entering the French Valley. The ascent to the viewpoint Frances begins here. The climb is about 2.6 kilometers or 1.6 miles one way, and it gains around 300 meters or almost 1,000 feet in elevation. The trail into the valley winds through dense lenga forest, crossing rocky sections and riverbanks. This is a moderate climb with some difficult rocky sections. After about 1 to 1.5 hours, you will reach the viewpoint of the impressive French Glacier and the surrounding mountain peaks. This viewpoint is located at 500 meters or 1,640 feet above sea level. Then it's time to head down to Refugio Frances. Here you will check in and get your dinner and breakfast times. After a well-deserved shower, it's time for dinner. This refugio is located at the shore of Lake Nordenskjöld. What of you? Okay guys, that's it for day number 6. See you tomorrow for day number 7. Day 7, Refugio Frances and back to EcoCamp Patagonia. From Refugio Frances, we will walk towards Refugio Cuernos, one of the other campsites on the W Trail that we sometimes use instead of Refugio Frances. The walk is approximately 3.6 kilometers or 2.2 miles and takes roughly 1.5 hours. From Refugio Perros, you will cross a bridge and continue walking alongside Lake Nordenskjöld, which offers a variety of very dramatic views. The total distance is about 17 kilometers or 10.6 miles and takes approximately 6 to 7 hours to finish. On the way, there will be some river crossings by bridge, and you will see how the landscape and even the weather changes as we approach the Las Torres area, where EcoCamp Patagonia is located. Then it is the last uphill and you will be back at EcoCamp for a well-deserved break until dinner time. That is it for day number 7. Tomorrow we have the longest and most iconic hike of the Paine Circuit, the base of the tower. Day 8, the base of the tower's trek. This is the final day of hiking, and this is the cherry on the top of the cake as one of the most iconic treks in the national park. After breakfast at EcoCamp, we start hiking towards Ascencio River, approximately 2.5 kilometers or 1.5 miles. After crossing the river, we usually take a small break to remove some layers because now the first long uphill starts until we reach Windy Pass. From the Ascencio River to the Windy Pass, it's approximately 2.5 kilometers or 1.5 miles, and it's considered demanding as it is a constant uphill. Loose rocks are on the trail, so pay attention when walking. Approaching Windy Pass, there is a narrow trail where on windy days you have to be careful when walking as the wind gusts can be very pushy. From the Windy Pass, you will get an incredible view and see the next target in the distance, Refugio Chileno. The following 1 kilometer are primarily downhill until you reach Refugio Chileno. At Refugio Chileno, you can refill your bottle, eat some, and take a break before continuing into the forest area. The forest area is 3 kilometers long and has rolling hills but is steady uphill. This area is protected by the elements, and walking in the old forest is a beautiful experience. The hardest part of the hike starts when you leave the forest area. It's only about 2 kilometers or 1.2 miles, but for most people it takes 1 to 2 hours to hike due to its challenging terrain, big steps, and steep uphill until reaching the base of the towers. This area could get more crowded, and some parts of the trail are very narrow. It can take some extra time as you will have to stop to let people pass through or by. The total distance of this hike is about 22 kilometers or 13.5 miles with an elevation gain of 1,000 meters or 3,300 feet. It takes approximately 8 to 10 hours to complete, sometimes more for non-experienced hikers. When you reach the base of the tower, it has a maximum altitude of the trek with 870 meters or 2,900 feet. To go back to EcoCamp, it is the same trail. That was it for the 9-day Paine Circuit. After today, you will get a well-deserved dinner, and on day 9, you will do the checkout and say goodbye to your fellow travelers and guides.